Welcome to class number 4. We are going to work through some traditional functional exercises and see how we can enhance them with the strap. Standing at the end of the mat, feet hip width apart, reach your arms, bend your knees. And exhale, come back to standing. You can either use your arms, so arms reach, C goes low, exhale, arms back. Or you can always continue moving your hands on your low back, making sure you keep that neutral lordotic spine as you bend your knees, even weight on your feet or with your arms reached. And then after 5, come down for Uttanasana. Get settled and just, arrive in your feet and foundation before you walk into your first downward dog. Just warming up with the moves of the day. Bringing weight into the base of the feet, the heels shift forward into plank. Engage through the mid body and lower your knees on all 4. Finding that upright position on all 4. Lift the heart, engage the shoulder blades together. And then tuck your toes. So from this all 4 position, we're going to keep our neutral spine, shift back into the downward facing dog, and then keep that even distribution before we lift back into the plank pose. Engage the front, keep the upper back open, and then slowly lower the knees. Inhale, lift your head. Exhale, shift back. And instead of flexing your spine here, try to keep your neutral low back into the downward dog. And let's repeat. Shifting into the plank. Lower your knees, but not your seat. Keep your pelvis up. Very good. Working from your transverse, working from your core. Lift your chest and then move back in a neutral spine into the downward facing dog. So having this low back and upper back awareness when we're upside down is super crucial. Last one, inhale, plank. Shoulder blades connected, lower the knees. Lift the heart, neutral spine, don't flex, keep that neutral low back, and then shift into the down dog. So there's lots of leg engagement. And having that awareness of your low back and shoulders is going to make a huge difference when you're weight bearing especially. Coming into the plank, lower the knees, lower down all the way. Untuck your toes. Inhale for cobra. Just move slow and get connected to your body. And shifting back, using your knees to the downward dog. From here, we're going to bring some awareness to our shoulder alignment using the MSA Strap to support and engage and give us feedback. So using a strap on your lower wrists, you're gonna go in, so when your hands are outer shoulder width apart, you plant one hand, pull the second hand. There's a nice traction. So there's a sense of your forearms being hugged together, which will make it easier for you to find the external rotation. Now, internal rotation basically means the shoulders are by the ears, right? External rotation means our biceps is now starting to turn forward and we increase the space between the upper arms and the ears. So the strap will help you guide your shoulder alignment there, which can be very challenging, especially in tight shoulders. And it's there where you feel much more work being done. So keeping that nice solid traction, roll your upper arms out, feel the down dog. Feel it in the plank, which is easier to access. And once you have it in your plank pose, keeping the shoulders away from the ears, lower down through the knees for cobra pose, keeping the shoulders behind the wrist as you actively root through the index finger mound, inner outer wrist, just solid grounded hands. And then just pause for a moment so I can show you on my knees what I mean. So with the arms overhead, which is the case in the downward dog, oftentimes The space between ears and shoulders decrease, and the shoulders do the opposite of staying open. They internally rotate. So the strap here will assist you to do the opposite, which is basically externally rotate the arms. And then as you reach your arms overhead in a downward dog, which is upside down, you want to maintain that external rotation, and especially so as you go through a form of sun salutation, here keeping your shoulders really connected as you're weight bearing them. Let's keep in mind there's a small joint that's not as well covered as the hip. So let's get back to our first functional move, Utkatasana or squat pose, really. Taking the strap as an assist around the mid-thigh. So again, this is the loop end application. Go through the last loop, tighten it pretty remarkably so you notice it, and then loop in the end right at your thigh so it's fixed, not in free air but on the side. Well, with your feet hip width apart, inhale, reach your arms. Again, you have the options with the hands on your hip. Always keep the knees over the ankles. And most importantly, the weight even between heels and base of the toe. We're gonna repeat a couple times here. Just inhale, sit low, reach your arms up. And then push through your legs as you come back into cactus arms, finding an even distribution between the front and the back body. Repeat for at least 5 times. Sit low as you inhale. Exhale. This time, after 5, you fall forward, Uttanasana. We're going to continue moving in our squat, or what we refer to as, Utkatasana pose, bending the knees, but this time lift your heels. Balance on the base of your toes, big toe mound, pinky toe mound. Lift your arms. Keep your core engaged, and then come back to standing as your heels lift and heels back down. Let's repeat. Inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, sit low. Your neutral spine remains neutral, and then fold forward as you anchor your heels into the earth, bringing active extension into the back of the legs. Lift your heels. Inhale, reach your arms, Utkatasana, all the way up, and exhale, back down. Arms are your choice. Inhale, lift the heels. Bend your knees, sit low, super engaged legs. And then slowly fold forward, Uttanasana. Okay, one more to go. Lift your heels. Utkatasana, hands can also be on the hips all times. Come all the way up and then settle your heels. It's a balance act. Inhale, tippy toes. Bend your knees. And then forward fold. Uttanasana. Well done. Such a great way to engage the foundation, engage the legs, and support your body well. You're gonna move into an open twist. So with your hands in front of your body or on the block, twist to your left, bending your right knee, and then come back. Twist to the right, bending your left knee. As a variation, you can reach your top arm up, really engaging both shoulder blades back. So I just want to engage the side body here and get that spine nice and supple. If you need a block below your hand, please do so. Shift your hips back and switch. Bend your right knee, lift your left arm, lengthen through the sides, and exhale, fold. After your 5, you get ready to come back in a standing position. We continue now our first functional move, but we're going to take it into the deadlift. So the deadlift is this position where you're standing with active leg, you're leaning forward and lowering the weight. Now, one thing you want to make sure here, as you lower down, just as the same transition we do from standing into Uttanasana, you want to keep your neutral spine. So many of us flex the spine as we come down, and that can cause a lot of load on the low back. So take your thumbs onto your low back, lower down, bend your knee however much you need, And just make sure you keep that neutral spine. Your belly still engages, but you keep your natural lordotic spine. Front supports, back supports, and the leg support as you lower down. Squeeze the legs as you lower down. So continue repeating that move till you feel the load. If you need to tighten the band, please do so. And make sure you're not flexing the spine every time you come down. So we do about 10 reps in total. I'll show one more time how it looks from the outside when you flex your spine, which is, yes, your front body shortening. So you don't want to have this happening. Your front body engages, but it keeps the length through front and back as you lower halfway down. Now, instead of weight, we're going to add some arms. Option 1, lower them in front. Option 2, cactus arms. And as you have your cactus arms behind your ears, upper back squished, lower and lift, lower and lift, lower and lift. It's a good load for the low back. Keep your legs engaged, feet grounded as you do little pumps here, not increasing or decreasing your lower back. Now arms straight, very nice. That's an even more demanding option. You could also choose that one before you lower down. Well done. Let's walk into downward facing dog and move on to our second functional position. Landing on your knees, just pause for a moment so I can demo the shoulder alignment. So often we are in a flex position when weight bearing in the upper body. But what we want to achieve is that neutral position in the upper back when weight bearing. So we're going to use the strap here as a support in what's called position 2. So from this position 2, come into the plank pose, our second functional move that is such a good basic posture to work with. Making sure you find that alignment between, closing and opening the front body where you're upright. Come on all four. Find that again, that connection from your shoulder blades where your collarbone slightly smile, and then step into plank. Hold. Breathe. Keep the back of your neck long. And we're going to transition into side plank. So feet behind each other. Flip to your left. And inhale, reach your top arm up. Good. Really take your arms back without falling back so your front ribs stay connected, and then exhale, switch sides. Float into the side plank on your right. Nice and pride, long spine, and switch again. Left, inhale, lengthen the arms as you maintain the plugging in sensation, and switch again. So if you notice, my repetition typically go to 5. So if in doubt, how many, just do 5. When it's symmetric, or an extra one when it's asymmetric, like in this one. So your right arm gets the same love, then your left arm, keeping the hips up high, back of the shoulder blades connected. And in case you haven't done your 6, more before you come back onto your knees and into what's called quarter dog. So hips above the knees, arms forward, like you're actively holding your weight. Outer shoulders wrap around you. In other words, triceps moves towards the mat as your biceps moves towards the front of your mat. Breathe, steady your breath, and feel that freedom that comes from a lifted upright spine as you weight bear and strengthen your body. Whenever we are weight bearing, it's the biggest form of strengthening. So we want to make sure whatever posture we have when we are weight bearing is most optimal. Now, our next move is taking us into our functional move number 3, and it's the good old lunge. So get ready to take your right leg forward, and we keep the strap right away, doing what's called forward push. So from here, collecting your pelvis, push forward as you move your midribs back, And then inhale, lift your heart. Push forward, try to stretch the strap without lifting the shoulders to your ears, and then cactus arms as your pelvis moves forward without losing the integration. The toughest part of your push, collect your lower belly like a zipper, and then keep that as you lift your heart. Okay, side stretch here. Again, front ribs, belly button glues to your sacrum like an invisible attraction as you side stretch all the way through your left groins with a big breath. Hands together, shorten your stance, and we go right up into the high lunge, adding some twisting motion. So make sure you're short enough to really level your pelvis, sitting bones on the right and left on the same level. Good. Open to the right, yes, and back to neutral. Perhaps you will have to tighten your strap. So in the lunge, solid connect to your feet and then open to the right. Good. Keep the leg integrity. The legs are hugging to the midline, extending through that back foot. Inhale, center, and then twist to the right. Yes, another balancing act, just like life itself. And then from here, reach your arms, collect your front ribs. Yes, belly in. And then reach as you bend your front knee and extend your back leg to your max. Really stretch your back leg and hands to the floor. Well done. We're just gonna switch the legs here. However it works best for you. Left leg forward, right knee down. Okay, perhaps you adjust your strap again. And then from here, push your arms forward again. Flex your spine, lift the mid back. And then inhale, breath, lift. So we're gonna intentionally exhale, push forward, pull the belly in, keep that inhale, lift up. Push forward. That's just a little trick to exhale and use the supportive muscles to keep the connection as you come into the opening. Side stretch here on your left, finding a nice connection through the front body, all the way stretch into the groins, into your psoas, and then let's get up. Shorten your stance, lift up. Level your hips, level your pelvis. And then from here, inhale, breath. And with the exhale, you gotta collect all the muscles around your pelvis and twist to your left. Inhale, breath, center. Perhaps you need to tighten your strap, please do so. And then exhale, collect your core, collect the side muscles and twist to your left. Balance by pushing through the feet, pushing through the big toe mound. And then inhale back to center. Let's do 5. Exhale, twist. Head comes last. And then after your 5, exhale, collect your core, collect your belly. Inhale back to center. We're gonna go into the full lunge. Hug your belly in, extend your arms up. Bend your front knee and extend your back leg to the fullest. Inhale, big anchoring breath before we lower down into the down dog. Just pause and breathe in your down dog. I like to use my tippy fingertips here, flexing the fingers, but of course you can come flat too. And stay collected through the upper back so the strap doesn't move over your head before we come down on all 4. Quarter pose is always an option, remember, to the downward facing dog. If you're maybe not so familiar with it or need a modification to it, knees below the hips, upper arm lifted and engaged as an option to the down dog. We're gonna go into a twist to really make sure all of the spine surrounding muscles are supporting us. Extend your right leg to the side. I'm gonna go back into the last loop here with the band, and then take your left arm underneath. Inhale, let your sideways lengthen, and then twist by pushing your arm through. There should be little weight on the neck, otherwise use a blanket below your shoulder. Engage the top arm back to really find that upper back twist. It's so important to Keep a nice mobility into the spine to make sure as we twist this also stretches the muscles and gives us a sense of freedom, of breath and movement. Switching sides. Yeah. Extend your left leg out and right arm underneath. So right where you see the strap or feel the strap more so, that's where you get your stretch into the rhomboids, into some of the mid-back muscles mostly. And then just like gravity, lengthen the sides of your waist as you find that long waistline twist with super little weight on your head, on your shoulder, all the way. And breathe. Good. Keeping the diaphragm engaged as well, always a good option. Let's push back on our feet and we come back to our functional move number 1, the squat. But there's one variation I do not want to miss, and it's basically a leg press without a leg press. So loop your base of the foot in and then take the strap behind you as you do the second side. So the strap will give you feedback about the positioning of your lower back, of your pelvis, and you're hooking it like a stirrup at the base of the toes. Bend your knees and make sure it doesn't slide over your pants by aligning your body accordingly. Then bending your knees, extending your knees, just feel, oh yeah, there's a good solid resistance increasing, and we're gonna work our neutral spine just the way we learned it in our deadlift variation, and do some extensions here. So bend your knees, extend. Option 1, hands on the legs. Option 2, roll your shoulders in as you come down. Exhale, roll your shoulders out behind you as you come up. So this will even increase the engagement you need through your upper back. Keep going. Move up. Inhale, exhale, release. Inhale, open. And sometimes there's no absolute truth in how you use your breath, but for this one, I have you open on the inhale and then release. After 10, make sure the strap stays where it's supposed to and take a nice anchoring forward fold. Always nice to bend your knees to evenly distribute the weight between the base and the back of your foot, and then keep that as you extend your legs. Deep, restoring breaths here. Always coming back to that breath. And if at any time throughout the videos you feel like you're losing them, please just stop the videos and come back to it. It's a lot of information we're taking in. So coming back to our lunge position, we're going to loop in the right foot only. And make sure you have más menos, even length on the left and right side. One side will be a little shorter. Then loop in through your wrists, through the whole wrist in, through the last loop, and grab the strap. Take your left leg forward. So you're anchoring the strap with your back foot. Now this is an interesting one. Bend your knees, hug your front body in, and then roll open. Just like in the previous motion, but this time asymmetrically. Roll your spine in as you bend your knees, flex your body, lengthen it as you shorten the front, and then lift up, extending without losing the lower core connection. Continue. It looks quite harmless, but it's very intense to use the body so holistically. Roll in and roll open, extend the back leg. Yeah, you may decrease your balance here, so make sure you keep that, and then release as you switch sides. So just step back, pause, and then loop your left foot through the band, using it to anchor. So it will basically pull your upper body down, which, makes it easier for the flexion part to engage. But then as you roll open, you have that resistance. So roll in, bend your back knee, and then keep your side body long as you extend the back leg and roll open. and again. Perhaps you have to see it first before practicing it. And roll in. Now this engages naturally your antagonist to the psoas, so that when you open and maintain them, you actually get a stretch through your groins. So let's look at it one more time. You flex, engage your glutes, your transverse, keep that, extend your back leg. So a stretch. Good. I was aiming for 5. Keep going. And then when you're done, step back into Uttanasana, removing the strap for now, finding your way back into the plank pose. So we worked through Utkatasana, plank, and lunges. Lower down through your vinyasa in your own style and breath. Inhale, open for the cobra. And a meet in the quarter dog or downward facing dog position. We're taking back in a movement that we did in a previous class. We're going to step our feet slightly closer. And then from the down dog, inhale, get ready to reach your right leg back and up. And then exhale, bend your knees and flex your spine as you lift your front body, bending your standing leg even, okay? That's the variation here. Inhale up, bend your front knee and curl in. All the way up, extend, curl in. Beautiful chop. And again, aiming for 5. Flex. And then for next one, get ready to step your right leg forward into a lunge. Just keep it light and anchored as you float, reaching your arms up, feeling hopefully even more stable from all the work we've been doing. And then in your own time, you're going to switch sides, stepping back, perhaps adding vinyasa, that's totally fine, before lifting left leg back and up, keeping neutral pelvis, and then flex your spine, curl as you bend both knees. Yes, just the free leg is bending a little bit more. Hug in. Keep it light, so even the strong movement, try to keep it really light and elastic, just like this works, helps the body to keep a lightness and elasticity throughout the entire body. And then step it forward. Now that looked like less than 5, but you know, we're aiming for 5. Left leg forward, inhale, reach your arms up. Level the pelvis, breathe as you extend lovingly through that back leg. And then find your way into down dog. So our functional movements were squat, plank, and lunge, and we're gonna work with some plank, side plank variation here. Left leg to the side, right foot at the end. Left hand slightly in front of your shoulders. Yeah, about 45-degree angle. Hug your shoulders back from your core, lift your top leg, bend your knee and grab your foot. You wanna keep your transverse active here always. Your front connection of where your belt will go through. And then keeping that active and the tail tucking actively, so glute increased, hug your leg as you stretch back. Thigh stretch, side bend, and transition. On this side, you can see the thigh stretch. What's very important from your core, you're going to lift that leg, yeah. Then make sure you bend it in one line, so shin bone is leveled with the upper leg bone. Hold the foot, engage it, engage the glutes, the transverse, and again, antagonist the psoas, and then stretch into your quads, rectus femoris here. Upper back even take your head back if you feel stable to do so. And breathe as you just give it a light opening through the front. Coming back on all 4, we're gonna peek into a arm balance. Probably one of my favorite variations to Pinchamarasana, onto our forearms. We're going to just interlace the hands. And then keeping the elbows shoulder width apart, hug your outer arms in, and tuck your toes, and then lift your seat. Good. You can always bend your knees more in order to get your seat up and your heart towards the upper thighs. Now evenly breathe here as you potentially step in with your feet or extend the back of your legs. But it's mostly about the length through the spine. So whatever you need, feet mat width apart, knees bent, just do so you can take an even of 5 to 10 breaths. Samavayo, just even inhales and exhale with your diaphragm placed upside down. Whenever you're ready, come down, take your knees into a child's pose position or keeping the seat slightly higher, and then elbows in front, interlace the hands. Hug your elbows very closely and get a nice shoulder stretch here as you allow the heart to descend. And before you have to dive deep with your head, it's worthwhile to take a block underneath your forehead instead of having that push chin forward position. All right, we'll do the same with the strap. Right, how to apply the strap? How can the strap help us to, feel this position and help us align in it? So this one's a tight one for the upper arm. So we're not going to keep the arms in too long. I take one loop in between, looping in right above the elbow. And it's tight enough so it will cut off your circulation if you're in too long. Keep your elbows closed. It will pull your upper arms together, which externally rotates them, which is basically what we refer to as open shoulders. Interlace the hands and lift your seat. Same thing. So option 1, you stay here. You can even rest your forehead on the band and take a set of 10 breaths. Option 2, lift your one leg, or even come balancing as your forehead touches a little bit of your knuckles. So you have a bit more contact point. One leg up and then perhaps second leg up. Or you just reach it to the sky with one foot on the ground. Breathe as you stabilize body, breath and mind. Or if you like to take the full option, but you're not feeling safe enough, then take the wall. You could do like an L pose, one foot at a level of your pelvis and reach your second leg up. So you have a closed chain situation while learning and practicing your balance. Head is off the ground now. It's not clearly visible, so I mention it. If anything, you could have a little forehead contact when actively balancing. All right, let's do the same motion again, child's pose, or hips a little higher as you bend your knee. And what's always nice here is increasing that external rotation in your shoulders. So by moving your palms together or fingertips together and turning the biceps more forward, you get that effect. Now, the even better option is with the block, where it's not like Pinchamarasana, where your arms are internally rotated, which is really difficult for closed shoulders especially, but where you actually externally rotate your shoulder, palms facing up, and you kind of squeeze the block with your pinky finger side. And then you take a stretch. You could even rest your forehead on the strap or remove it as you keep turning your thumbs towards the earth and breathe. It's a wonderful stretching of the external rotators, upper back, as you let your heart descend and evenly breathe. letting time pass for a moment, just staying present. And then soon we have to remove that strap. So in my case, I turn around so you see what I'm doing behind my back. Taking a hero's pose with the block. If you want less knee flexion, or you could sit in between your heels and then have the strap outer shoulder width above your head and just hold it for the signature move of opening your shoulders, not through the traditional signature move, but through the shoulder mobility move. So holding the strap, you inhale, reach your arms up, move down, and as you notice this like challenging area of your body, you increase the resistance. Yeah. You could play with moving your head from left to right. Pull the strap up as you reach your shoulders over your head for some shoulder mobility. Just cooling down our bodies and experiencing, more freedom in our back. The next time you're up, take your left forearm on your low back, right arm up. Perhaps you have to loop the band a little to make it shorter. And then let's do some triceps curls. Right arm is vertical. And you extend your elbow and you bend it. Keeping your front ribs in, keeping your low back long. And then to come out, follow the gaze to the top arm and switch sides. Right forearm on your low back, left arm at the top, shoulders back, stabilize the internal rotation on the bottom arm, and then extend top arm and bend the elbow. Just focus on keeping that upper arm vertical, keeping it as vertical as you possibly can as you do isolated triceps curls, 3 to 5, and then look at your left arm as you come back down. Well done. Now, one thing I wanted to demo is here the postural belt that we can easily do with the MSA Strap, where you use your band like a backpack, you loop it in, and then tighten it to the point where you can have a good circulation through your neck. But as you collapse in your posture, you clearly notice a cutting off sensation in your neck. And this is truly what's happening biomechanically. With every centimeter that our head is shifted forward, there's 1.8 kilograms more weight on our traps. And then do the opposite. Position your head above the base of the pelvis and notice how the stretch, like the tightness on the strap on your skin, actually goes away. So this is a really nice way to just get an idea of what it means to be upright and what it means to strengthen the posture I aim for, and to make sure we can translate that into all position in space. Extending the arms out sideways, nice way. Just how does the shoulder need to feel? How does it feel if I don't bring pressures on my shoulder neck structures? I like to call it plugged in sensation in the shoulders. And you'll feel it tight the moment you're not plugged in. The moment your shoulder blades not connect through the rhomboids, or your head collapses forward. So it's just a good reminder to get feedback on your kind of neutral blueprint of upright posture, where all the organs and structures are most ideally positioned to give you a sense of freedom in body and breath. And a decompression on our mental body as well. And sometimes that's all we need, right? We gotta work on the posture so there's an uplift feeling that translates into our mind, or vice versa. So we're gonna take the loop band and move it around the diaphragm, your main breathing muscle. So around the bottom rib cage, in a light tension, so that when you fully inhale, you feel a sensation, and when you exhale, it's almost like the strap slides down, but you decide on how much contact is comfortable to you. You basically just aim to have a conscious breath, so the mind can more easily follow the motion of the breath, which is, mindfulness in its glory. Add a side stretch to open the side structure of your diaphragm, zwerchfell, the main breathing muscle, keeping your outer hips super low, anchoring, almost pushing them actively down, and open the arms through the sides. And then switch sides, right arm overhead. Root your outer right hip down. Just feel that freedom and opening through the right side waist, opening through the intercostals, and an eagle arms, right arm underneath the left. Inhale, lift your arms as you lift your heart, and then slightly flex the spine as you lower. So instead of collapsing, try to keep the mid back lifted. So it's like this New Zealand farm that kind of grows longer the more it curls in, right? So we don't want to collapse in the spine, but get a sensation of lifting, of actively connecting. Inhale, the back body. And on the exhale, the front body. Then opening the arms, switch sides. Left arm on the right. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hug your belly and scoop your belly, like you want to hollow your lower belly. And enjoy a couple more breaths with motion. Just cooling the body down. Moving slowly into that wonderful descent after a focused class. And removing the arms, pause for a moment, right hand in the left hand. And we're going to transition over the side as always, or with support of the knee onto our backs. You can keep or remove the strap. We're gonna do half moon pose or Shavasana half moon, which legs to the left, hips to the right, and then take a side stretch. So we're using gravitational force here to open the sides. It's a very restorative pose. I like to offer it in restorative classes or yin class as well. Keeping the front ribs in, and then just feel that breath through the band, perhaps increased. If it bothers you, feel free to remove it. And just give that right wing of yours some good breath, some good upwind, some good self-support. Working at 5 to 10 breaths. Having an even pelvis. And I didn't mention, but if the right foot is on top of the left, it just increases the range of motion through the outer right side body. And to switch, move your hips to the left, feet to the right. Pausing in center, it's always a nice way to just take in what the one practice has actually done to your body, sensing it, taking it in, making it mindful before actually switching the sides. Hips to the left, let me repeat, feet to the right, left foot on top, lean to the right, and then take a nice side stretch. Also here, you can pay attention, or I demand you to pay attention to your top arm. So the shoulder is externally rotated. Thumb of the extended arm is facing to the ground. And you can a little pull on it or not, or just hold it as you let gravity do the job. It's a total practice of surrender, of stepping back from the things we cannot control, of allowing things to happen as well, where our efforts are not in demand, and making that process mindful as well. When to accept and when to gather the strength to change the things we cannot accept. All right, support a bridge, low way or high way with your block. Can be sideways, middle, or all the way high way long below your sacrum. And with the hands in front, we're gonna open the front of the diaphragm. So we had the back, the sides, and now the front. Just feel the opening of your ribs here underneath your hands. There's a motion of widening as you inhale. And exhale, narrowing as you exhale. The light ujjayi. It's always helpful to be mindful of the breath. Feel free to adjust if you pick one variation and you're like, oh, somehow it's better to go lower or higher. And with all the guts, all the belly organs here coming against the diaphragm, it's a really nice way of giving it an extra reflective opening. Okay, eagle arms again, left arm underneath the right leg on top. I like to keep the blocks low way underneath the pelvis here, just so there's less abdominal work at this stage of class. And you can move your arms a little just to, get the last kinks out that may bother you. Or remove the block completely. And then hugging again, elbow to knees, just for a few breaths here. Expand the back body before you open and switch. Left leg over right arm underneath, left arm. So left arm, left leg is on top. And again, find out for yourself what works. The heart blocks can also be a chop on its own at the back of the pelvis, kind of trigger pointing your muscles around the pelvis. Slightly move, hug, breathe. Just listen to your system before you remove the block to the side. And we're gonna get ready for Shavasana. So it's always worthwhile to stay warm throughout the resting position. And what's always super beneficial as well is to cover your head or eyes with a blanket or your sweater or your hoodie and kind of pull that with a light pressure around the top of your eyes and ears to close the senses, to just relax more deeply, to give your senses a break. Take your arms up, take one more inhale and one conscious exhale. Thank you so much for participating in this functional Inspire class. Namaste. Bye-bye.